So hey, I'm JJ
And I'm Sam.
and Sam, and we're we we like to play board games and we like to play video games, and we've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately about board game top tens and video game top tens, and we thought, well, that'd be kind of cool to come up with our own top 10 podcast. So we said, why don't we just do our top 10 computer games of all time, and we'll just talk about them, and we'll record
They're
it,
computer games?
and it'll be cool. Top 10. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You're right. Top 10 video games, whether computer or console, because there are some non-computer games on my list.
Are there?
So we got to do
Okay,
it. We got to do what everybody does. We got to talk about, what are the criteria for our list, right?
All right.
Okay.
So what I basically just went in. I'm like, what are the 10 games that like I had the most fun, I think, during playing? And I tried to make them between different genres. Like,
Okay.
I'm not a big shooter guy, but a lot of people play shooters, so I tried to include one because there was a couple shooters that I really had a lot of fun with back then. So I tried to include at least one
That's
shooter.
fair.
And then I've played a lot of like platformers, but I'm not gonna make a whole list of platformers. So I just tried to keep that down to like one or two kind of thing.
I am pretty confident that there are no platformers
Yeah.
on my list at all.
Checking his phone, middle of the video.
Checking my phone in the middle of it. We'll edit. This will all. Don't worry.
Clean editing.
If I say anything
if
negative,
I didn't edit this out, it's just because I wanted to make him look bad during the video.
You're gonna see some of that happen.
All right. So
Unfortunately.
what were you thinking going?
So I started off thinking I was gonna represent like a genre of video games, whether it be console or PC or fighting games or FPSs or whatever. And then at first I thought, well, man, I'm cheap. I play more video games for quality, so I'll buy one game, play it for like a long time. So I didn't think I had as many, but then when I looked back at everything, I saw a lot of games that I played, and so I started to just think about the ones that had the biggest like impact on me, whether it not just duration of play or change my perspective of playing video games or whatever. Right?
Definitely. Yeah.
And I've got some honorable mentions.
I've got so many honorable.
Yeah.
We're gonna have the list is gonna actually be 25.
Well, we don't need to go that crazy, but I picked a few honorable mentions, and I picked 4 games that I think are going to be on your list.
Your list? Okay, I think I've got about 3 that I think are going to be on your list.
Yeah, yours are easy. That's not fair.
How is that not fair?
I'm wearing a What a Save shirt.
Okay,
so
we'll get to that later. No spoilers. No spoilers.
You don't know what my number one game is.
I don't know what your number one game is. So let's start out with your number 10. What is your number 10
Okay,
game?
so my number 10 game is kind of not a PC game. It's not even a console game. It's a phone game.
Oh, really?
So it is a video game, but it's something I think really changed the genre for me of phone games. And believe it or not, it is, yes, Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go. Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that.
I had other games on the list,
wow.
and I kept adding games, and then I said, oh, what about Pokemon Go? We spent a lot of time using that as an excuse for walking around.
I had one of those Camelback. I'm like, I'm going to get so fit.
I don't have a VR game on my list because I don't have a VR setup yet, but I want one.
Yeah.
But we do have AR, and this is augmented reality, and it's really the first AR game I played, and it was just kind of, it's not a great game. It's a repetitive console type game.
It was like more of an excuse to hang out with.
Yeah. It was a social thing, like very much like WoW in the real world or something like that. So I just thought it was really neat to go out and play the game and have fun with everybody, and it gave me an excuse to exercise because it tracked how far I walked and gave me credit for walking, and that was.
I don't think I would have even if I had thought about it, I don't think I would have put Pokemon Go on my list, but I think it's a good inclusion. I think it changed the whole world more than any phone game I've ever had.
My number 10 is Pokemon Go.
All right, that makes sense. My number 10, I don't think you even know what it is. It's by Powerhoof Games. They made Crawl.
Oh, yeah. I didn't say that, but obviously Pokemon Go is Niantic, and it was released in 2016, so it's pretty new, right?
Crawls, and it's a Steam game originally, came out from Powerhoof Games in 2014, and I can't get enough of this game, and my friends hate that I can't get enough of this game. Like, whenever they come over, like one friend, when he walks in the house, like Eric, he'll come in and he'll say, like, we're not playing Crawl. Like, whenever I get my computer out, he's like, I don't want to play Crawl anymore.
So what is it?
Crawl it's a dungeon crawl.
Okay.
Except that you have it's a 4-player game, local co-op. One player plays as the hero, dungeon crawling through the adventure, and the other 3 play as the monsters.
Okay.
And then if a monster is able to kill the hero, they take over their body, and then they become the hero. So it's one of those games that it's hard because you're playing against 3 actual players. So it feels really satisfying if you win. But whenever the hero gains levels and gets stronger, every other person gets to upgrade their monsters. So it almost feels better to lose sometimes because you want to get those sweet upgraded monsters. So it's the only game that I win or lose, I had a good time.
So what even genre is that?
What even genre? It's just
like
it's a dungeon crawl.
Dungeon crawl.
It's a dungeon crawl. It's a local co and it's only local co-op, which is the main downside. Is because it's not very fun by yourself. But I played Crawl my friends are all sick of it. I would still play it right now. Like I love Crawl.
I can't believe there's a game on your list already that I never even
heard
of. But it is number 10.
Yeah,
so
it's number 10. It was, and then
you have way too many games on your.
The honorable mention I put under this one is just I'm not even going to talk about it. But Dragon Quest Heroes Rocket Slime was the most underrated game of all time. I'm just going to leave that there.
Yeah.
And then we're going to
go. I don't think that deserves any more.
and then we're going to go to number 9. Do you want me to do number 9 first?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, my number 9 is, speaking of underrated things, the Wii U had a lot of bad games. But that Nintendo Land game that came with it is one of the best party games I've ever played. Like, I love asymmetric gaming. It came out with the Wii U in 2012. It's from Nintendo, of course. Nintendo Land is just a bunch of little games where one player has the, tablet, and they're controlling, something from top-down perspective, and the other 4 players are against them working together, and they're just playing on the big screen on the TV.
I'm sensing a theme in your game.
That they're local co-op. Not all of them. I had to include those because that's all the games I play these days are usually local co-op games.
All right.
And this one is not cooperative. It's very competitive, but it's wacky fun. It's super great. I bring it out I still have my Wii U hooked up to the TV just so I can play this game when people come up.
And what's it called again?
Nintendo Land. And it came with the Wii U. And it might be the only good game that came out on the Wii U. So,
yeah,
so it's not worth the price of admission, but it is very good.
So was the original Splatoon on the Wii U, or was it on
it was on the Wii U.
Wii U,
so it's the Smash Bros. They put out a lot of
the
big
new Splatoon
hitters.
Is on the Switch.
On the Switch,
right? Yeah.
And you know what? Crawl also came out on the Switch in December. So if you have a Switch, Crawl is super good, but only if you can actually get full.
It's not an advertisement.
I'm just saying, Crawl is so good.
Okay, enough of that.
Okay.
All right, so my number 9 is in the Wayback Machine. This goes this is how old I am.
Take it way back.
All the way back to 1992.
I have no idea what
Id Software. It was Wolfenstein 3D.
Really?
It was the first game I played on the old style XT clone PCs that sort of had a faux 3D effect to it, and it was sort of visceral because you'd open a door and there was a Nazi there and you're fighting them and all this stuff, and it was a fun game because everybody says, oh, Doom, but Doom came after this. Wolfenstein set the stage. Wolfenstein 3D set the stage for what was to come in 3D, and it was, at the time, it was a big leap forward. So that was the game. I played it a lot way back when, so
okay.
That was it.
All right, so then you want to go ahead and move on to your number 8 then?
Ooh, number 8. Okay. This one, I put it on the list. I go back and forth. It's Warcraft 3. Specifically, I think it was called Reign of Chaos.
Reign of Chaos was the original.
Yeah, it was released. Yeah, it was released in 2002 by Blizzard Entertainment, and we played this game a lot. It was definitely a game I played with you. I played with my brother. There's a lot of co-op. We played against each other. We played teams against other people. It's just a really fun game. Another game that we played a lot. Whether it's my favorite game of all time, I wouldn't want to go back and play it now, but at the time it was Night Elves forever, playing the game. It was cool. Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would have expected that on my list.
I did not expect you to. I enjoy Warcraft 3 very much. I did not think you even liked Warcraft 3.
Well, so, played a lot of mini games, and I like those on the platform. Yeah, they're a lot of fun. I mean, Dota and all that stuff, but the original game was actually pretty cool, and we played it a lot.
It is. I don't even know if it was the most balanced. I think it actually wasn't.
Yeah.
But for people that play a lot of StarCraft, I don't think people enjoyed Warcraft as much.
Well, 3 was the one that 2 was the one that broke it out, and 3 was the one,
big. 3 was
the one that launched an epic of mini games.
I love the mini games, and I'll actually go back and play the regular game just because I'm so in love with the actual theming. Just everything about the game just brings back so much nostalgia for me that I'll go back and play it. But yeah, I don't play the main game very much. So. All right, my 8 was actually World of Warcraft.
Ooh,
Yeah,
oh, way
I
down
don't,
the list. Oh
yeah,
my.
I don't know if World of Warcraft would have made it up on your. You say way down, so this is one of the ones I assume you would have also.
So
had on
you
your
and I
list.
had different experiences playing World of Warcraft.
Yes,
Obviously.
my experience in World of Warcraft was back when I was growing. World of Warcraft came out in 2004. When I was growing up in the 90s, like the thing to do was RuneScape was huge. All the kids at school were playing RuneScape or MapleStory. I never got into either of those. They seemed dumb, and people were way too into it already, so I was behind. But then when we both got into World of Warcraft, like when it first came out, it's like the first RPG I played, and it was bananas. It was so awesome. Like I'm like, oh my god, I can tame a wolf. That's crazy. He follows me around. That's insane. Like there was nothing to compare it to at the time. Now RPGs are just a dime a dozen, but back then it was crazy.
And when was it released? 2000.
It was 2004.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I always like to tell people, because I don't just say I played World of Warcraft. My whole family played World of Warcraft. My mom out-leveled me on World of Warcraft, which I don't even know if we've mentioned this in the video yet, but this is my dad. So I played on one. They had 2 accounts, and then I would play on whichever one of theirs wasn't playing. And she out-leveled me. Not only did she out-level me, she's an accountant. She really liked to play the auction house. I'm a kid. I don't treat my money right. So when mounts used to be expensive in that game, so I actually had to take a loan from my mom in fake currency so that I could buy a mount.
Okay, yeah. That's...
And then I grinded turtle skills for hours just to pay her back. I was in so deep, and it was really
She was
fun.
raiding that troll dungeon in the 50s level in the original game, and I think me and some friends were at a basketball game, and you were filling in for me, and I remember her calling me at the game and saying, "I just got an epic dagger." Drop on her rogue. Okay, so let's move on.
If we want to talk about me having to play for him, I actually remember that it was a school night and I had to stay up past 12 p.m. to raid for his character because he was gone.
To be fair, that was the choice.
They didn't expect it to go that late, but the raid was like, we got to keep going, and I was tanking as like, what was I, 12? I don't even remember how old I was.
Let's say you were like 13 or whatever doesn't make me sound legally obligated to be a bad parent.
And I still was having fun. That was actually very stressful because I kept talking to the guild guy like, am I doing okay? Am I ruining this for him? Is he going to get kicked out because I'm doing a bad job? It was very stressful for me. I knew what I was doing, but I just had never raided at such a large scale before, so I was very afraid to mess something up.
So that was your number 8?
That's my number 8.
Oh, okay.
And then we already did your number 8. So my number 7 is another one I've told you about, but I don't know if you remember. A Hat in Time.
I remember the name.
So this is one of the newer ones. This is the platformer I had to get on here. It's by Gears for Breakfast. It came out last year in October 2017. And I love platformers. One of my favorite old ones was Banjo-Kazooie. But the controls in Banjo-Kazooie were not as like responsive as maybe Mario. A lot of people like Mario. But Mario had like themed levels, but nothing like A Hat in Time. A Hat in Time, the themes for the levels were like you were either doing contracts for a demon. It was a very goofy looking demon that stole your soul, and he made a bunch of jokes while you were doing it. Or you were filming a movie, and you were in 2 competing movies, and you had to like try to get more views for one than the other to decide who would be the final boss of that level. And then another one where it's the 2 movies were like a heist on a train was one of them. So you were actually like trying to play a detective.
Spoilers on this thing?
No, not really. But you played a detective. You had to play a detective and actually solve who was the murderer. It was the weirdest, silliest game ever, and it was just a huge blast. And nowadays, now that I'm older, I love shorter games. This game is short, but that's a big selling point for me as an older gamer.
Short like for a play session, or short like start to finish?
Start to finish, it's not a very long game.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So what is your number 7?
That was number 7.
Number 7.
Okay. So my number 7 is all the way back again to 1997.
Oh my lord.
It was originally, I believe, developed by GT Interactive Software. I'm sorry, it was published by them. It was developed by Cave Dog Entertainment. It is the classic Total Annihilation.
Oh yes.
Specifically, Total Annihilation with Uber Hack. Total Annihilation is a RTS set in the future. You've got a commander walking around. He's able to create units, and you build manufacturing, you build units, and you fight in real-time strategy. And Total Annihilation was the first sort of epic scale RTS that I played. I remember playing it with my friends a lot. Even though when we were playing it, it had been out forever and it was an old game. We played it long after this, but
I think
Just a super
I
fun
actually played a
game.
lot of Total Annihilation 2 with you. You didn't like that one bad.
So
You had better memories from-
Total Annihilation 2 and what is it? Supreme Commander and all the
Supreme
games that
Commander,
came out after that were cool, but they never quite captured because the original Total Annihilation was great, but Uberhack just put so many units in there that it was crazy. And we played a lot of this. I played a lot of RTSs, Age of Empires.
It was kind
other
of the
stuff,
thing back
but-
in the night. They were able
Yeah.
to make these games better than they could.
Well, yeah, one of my honorable mentions to me is like an homage to the original RTS, but so Total Annihilation.
All right. And then we're moving on to number 6.
Was it me?
Yeah.
So number 6 was published again. This is on the Wayback Machine, so we're almost
my Lord.
19 years ago. I got a lot of Wayback. I've been playing games a long time. Number 6 is published in 1999, again by ID Software. It is the classic Quake 3 Arena.
Oh,
The
that's
greatest,
a good game.
one of the greatest FPSs of all time, a genre setter.
I didn't even think about
It was
Quake.
just nothing but. I don't even think Quake the Arena had a campaign mode, but it's just you go out and specifically they had the bouncy map, so you play railguns on the bouncy map, one shot, one kill, and you had to reload, and
Yeah.
you'd hit the bouncer, and you'd try to hit the guy. It was just
They've redone that
crazy
kind
stuff.
of thing in Unreal Tournament. Does that a lot. They have like a Insta-Give mode where everyone has a one-shot kill.
It was
and they
called
bounce around.
Insta-Give,
It's
yeah,
based,
that's-
it's based
yeah.
on the Quake started it all.
And that game, well, I liked every aspect of the game, and I loved when you added in these expansion add-ins, and there was one that would give you like certain powers, and there was one power called Happy Fun Balls, right?
Oh,
You remember
yes.
Happy Fun?
The best
So you would-
expansion was the superpower. one. That's what
Superpower,
it
exactly.
always
Quake 3
is.
Arena with superpowers, and so you would die, and when you would die, out of your corpse would spawn these little smiley face balls that
They
would
would make an evil laugh
Yeah.
and chase down
Chase-
whoever killed
chase
you.
whoever was nearby and blow up on
That
them. It
was
was just
very,
great. That
very
was,
satisfying.
good.
It's like, oh, you killed me, huh?
yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
It's-
yeah.
And there were other superpowers, but I mean, they were goofy. Like some were goofy, some of them were cool. But just the whole package of Quake 3 Arena. Played it a ton. It was a
quite
very
good.
similar game
It's very
for me.
good. All right. So we're on number 6.
That was my Quake 3 Arena. Is my number 6. Yeah.
My number 6. I don't have a lot of super new games, but I had in time, and this one, Cuphead,
Oh my gosh!
is
Cuphead.
so good. I don't think I'm sure everyone listening is, if you play games, you're tired of hearing about Cuphead. Cuphead is I never really got into Mega Man when I was younger. At first in college I tried out Mega Man X. I'm like, okay, there's something actually to this. Mega Man's pretty cool. Cuphead is the Mega Man game I always wanted. It's made for older game. It's hard. It's the only reason I put it above I Had in Time is because it's co-op. You can play 2 players. Because I Had in Time is only 1 player all the way through. Cuphead you can play at 2 players. I remember me and Kyle were playing, and we were just playing the same boss for hours, and we were having a great time. We were getting our butt kicked every time. And then, like, this next morning, I got up early, and I got right back on it. I'm like, no, I'm beating it. You will not beat me. And it's really satisfying to beat them. Because the boss, and everything's hand-drawn. Every single frame in the game is hand-drawn. And they showed the drawings.
It's a very retro style.
It looks
of
very
art,
good.
yeah.
The art's
almost
fun.
like cartoons from the 70s or 60s or
Yeah,
something.
and
like
this
that.
is by Studio
Yeah.
MDHR. It's a really small company of basically just artists and a few programmers. And then it came out in 2017.
Cool. Cuphead.
Cuphead. I really like
should have
Cuphead.
known that would be on there, but I didn't think about it. So which one? So now we're gonna hear
We're on
about.
number 6.
Oh man, we're getting tight now. These are getting into games that I've played way too much of. I imagine.
Okay.
So we're on number that was-
6. You are on number 6.
We just did number 6. So you're doing number.
Oh, I'm doing number 5. You're right. Number 5. I don't think you would have guessed that this was on my list, but number 5 is Battlefield Heroes.
Get out of Dodge.
Yeah,
That's an excellent choice.
I love Battlefield Heroes.
Who didn't love Battlefield
Battlefield,
Heroes?
Of shooters, I've always loved cartoon shooters, and Battlefield Heroes. If you're thinking Battlefield like realistic warfare, this was not it.
Well, it was part of the franchise for Battlefield,
Yeah.
but it was that.
But it looks
comic
like Team
departure.
Fortress 2,
Yeah, it was very much.
and
But it was Team Fortress 2, but fun.
it was
more
fun.
More fun.
Team Fortress 2, it's just like
It's
8
okay.
different characters, and it's alright. But this one, there was only like 3 or 4 classes, and they all had different abilities you would level up. So you get to like skill yourself to where I would be like a soldier, but I would walk up to a tank, hit my 4 button that I had leveled all the way up, flip the tank out into the ocean like 30 feet or something, And it just had all these wacky abilities. They had planes that felt really good to fly. They had the spies that could stealth up, stab people.
Sort of cartoon physics,
if
you will. Yeah.
It was just a blast. My sister actually played it a lot, and she's sad that it's gone. Like they've got a couple like private servers out there you can go play it. But honestly, getting into it at the ground level when everyone was leveling up at the same time we were, it was a blast. Me and you, Uncle Lane, played the heck out of it. I remember Andrew played it with us all the time. It was.
Yeah, it was a great game.
And
it still would be. I really wish they would reboot Battlefield Heroes with an update.
Absolutely, it was great.
It's silly. I think the problem they had was they did a lousy job early on monetizing it.
They couldn't get the money.
They hit the timing wrong.
And then they monetized bad. And then when they finally did monetize, it was pay to win. The guns you could buy were objectively better.
EA could come around and sort of reboot that. In
that's
a more
why.
constructive
That's
way,
the biggest downside of this is it was made by EA. Yeah. This one came out back in 2009. That feels like it was even older than that. I feel like it was so long ago.
Battlefield Heroes.
So
wow,
good.
that's cool.
I love Battlefield
That's
Heroes.
very cool.
Yeah. All right, your number 5.
Number 5. So my number 5 is in the 4X genre.
Can I just say real quick?
Go ahead,
honorable mention for shooters was the other cartoon shooter I played too much in my childhood, and everyone my age will know it was Star Wars Battlefront 2. The original, not the new one.
Yeah, that was a pretty good game. Just because you could
it was silly.
Fight as a stormtrooper.
You could fight as a stormtrooper. You could fight as a Jedi, Darth Maul slapping Yoda around, or you could roll up as a droideka. Oh, power of the shields. Oh, it didn't take itself too seriously. It was the right way to make a Star Wars game with all the different modes. You could just basically relive the stuff from the movie.
They really haven't come up with a way to fix that problem. They've never really captured that genie in the bottle quite the same way.
They said the new one. They always complained that what they had before is no matter how many players you had, there was a bunch of just computers. So you felt like you were mowing down people. You felt like a big hero.
Which had a satisfying sense.
But nowadays it's all players. It's sparse,
fun,
but there's less people on the map because of it.
Yeah, so you don't get that epic scale.
So they need to either be able to support way more players,
which is hard,
or they need to add computers, which they only did for certain, like I think missions or whatever. So it's just not the same game.
So which one? So mine is a 4X game. This is number 5.
5, yes.
Yeah. So this game was published in 2012 by Amplitude Studios. And it's called Endless Space. Endless Space is a 4X, explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate. Most of the time, early on, I was in the exterminate category, i.e. the AI was exterminating me. My brother Lane and I played this a lot, and
I should have put this on the list.
we eventually got to the point where we could beat the AI. It was a little bit of a slog, but we could get where we could overcome it. I actually have Endless Space 2 now. It's basically the same game.
I have no taste for 4X games, but I should have known you would have had a couple on your list. My head wasn't even.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about games that I play a lot, and if you look at the hours I've logged on Endless Space and other games like it, it's just like it was that sort of seminal point in the genre. Because I played Age of Empires 3 and games like that before, but this one pushed the envelope forward, I think, a little bit. And I've played a lot of Space 4X games. Stellaris. By the way, Stellaris, you guys stink. I love the game except for the stupid battle rules. Get rid of the battle rules and it'll be the greatest 4X game of all time. But with the battle rules or whatever they call it, I hate that game. You got to put it out there. I love that game right up until the AI, which could not defeat the core of my system, got it anyway because of some stupid arbitrary objective they came up with. Ruined the entire game for me. Yeah, thumbs down.
Yes, it's been. I feel like all the 4Xs you've been playing lately are to try to get something like Endless Space again.
Stellaris was great.
It was close.
Great, except for the battle rule, and they did Universal, Euralis, or Utopia, or whatever their other games are. I know that's the shtick that they do these battle conditions or rules, but to me, a fight is a fight. You win, you lose. You win, you lose. I don't need arbitrary crap in my space conflict. I just need crushed. I need the wreckage of enemy ships flying by me. What was great about Endless Space is it was a dice rolling kind of thing. It was statistics, but it would, while you could have it show you the battle and it was representing what was happening, so you see the ships getting hit and taking damage and blowing up. So it's like every fight was like watching a mini episode of Star Wars as you were fighting with the other races. It was a neat game.
All right, so that was your number?
That 4? Was Endless Space is number 5.
So now you need to do number 4.
Is that am I doing 4?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so maybe you should do number 4.
Why? You think?
All right, so my number 4 is much like my number 5. It is a 4X game.
Okay, here we go again.
And I had to put it on here because again, here's a game that I started way back. I've played now 3 games in the franchise, and the one that's probably been the best
is it
is
Civilization?
Civilization. It's Civilization 6
I should have
specifically.
known. Of all the 4X, I should have known Civ was on.
It was 2017 FireX's games. I mean, I've played it for a while. It's been around forever. I mean, it's like Sim City or what's the people game? The Sims. The Sims that spun off of that. But Civilization 6 with the deconstructed cities added a great tactical change. I'm a little annoyed by the spiritual conflict because I'm winning the game strategically, and all these prophets come in and start converting.
But they wanted another
There's,
avenue.
yeah, I know, and so then I'm busy like recruiting religious people to go on a religious crusade against the other religious people while I just want to be nuking the dude next to me. But
Civilization is especially among older gamers, it is such a big game. Everyone loves Civ. But like I said, shorter games. I like shorter games.
Civ and Endless Space are long.
They're long games.
They're games you save and come back to on several days.
That's why they're almost better as single player because it's hard to get. Like I tried playing Civilization 5 with like 4 people. And we tried to play it all in one night. We were literally playing for 8 hours, and we still weren't done. So, and I just couldn't. We could never get those 4 people back together and want to play it again.
And that's what's really frustrating because when you look at Stellaris as a 4X game, something it did really well and does really well is you'll have like these galaxy-wide events where something happens and a race invades the galaxy and there's a cooperative opportunity for all the big powerful races to try to. It's awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
Everything about that game is probably better than these other games, except for the stupid combat, which ruins the entire thing.
This is not a list about the 10 reasons I don't like Stellaris.
We're gonna come back to that because I have like 9 reasons why it's one of the best 4X games out there, and one reason why it's the worst.
We'll make a different list called Stellaris. You messed up, and here's why.
Can we do that?
Yeah, we can.
We should do.
We'll do Stellaris. Here's what you did wrong.
I'm gonna do that. I feel obligated. I've already been a bit of a troll on their forums.
Just leave it alone. All right.
Maybe I should just let it go.
All right. That was your number 4.
It was 4. I'm going to let it go.
Okay.
It's 2 4X games in a row. They rated pretty high. I don't think there's any other 4X games on here, in case you were worried.
I have no 4X games, so you don't need to worry about that.
I'm going to guess that pretty soon we're going to be getting into fighting games.
I put a lot of honorable mentions for fighting games because I only wanted to pick one. So there's one coming up.
Is that like number 1?
Number 4 is Castle Crashers. Castle Crashers is a game made by the best company ever in the whole world, The Behemoth, back in 2008. And this is the local co-op game to blow all the others out of the water. I first got into Behemoth's game when on GameCube they created Alien Hominid, which is basically like Metal Slug, but you're little aliens, and they have goofy jokes and cartoony aesthetic. And then they had a mini game
for
in there.
you younger gamers, you'll get that reference. I have no idea what those are.
That's an old game.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Metal Slug's older than I am. You should know what it is. It's like an arcade game.
Don't know what it is.
Contra?
I know what Contra is.
It's like Contra.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So platforming.
No, it's a platforming shooter. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
And then the mini game in there, my sister used to play it. Yeah, no. My sister used to play it nonstop, and it actually turned into one of their later games called Battle Block Theater. So when that came out, I'm like, that's the game from Alien Hominid. And every time they come out with the game, I love it. I'm always like, we needed to somehow trick the government into giving Behemoth money to just make more video games because they're really good at it.
The government should be easy to trick, but let's go.
And Castle Crashers is just like your old like beat 'em up. You just walk through hitting stuff, and then you have magic spells that work off your mana bar, and you can shoot arrows. And there's like 4 stats you level up over the course of the campaign, and every stat feels great. Because the speed makes you run faster, and then you can shoot high damage arrows really quickly. The magic gives you access to more powerful spells. And then the strength just makes you hit like a truck, and you hit him with lollipops for like 100 damage. It's such a good game. I played it to death when me and my friends first got onto it. And this is going to be, I think, the last local co-op one.
That's a lot. I feel like you didn't. If we're going to talk about local co-op,
I have a whole list of like 20, 30 games of local co-op.
Overcooked needs to be on the list.
Overcooked's not on my list.
Okay, I gotta
I
move
see.
forward here.
Here's the thing.
I
Overcooked, I've played so much. Like once I beat the campaign, I don't like the verses.
Oh, forget about the campaign. Watching people who don't know how to play dropping the food in the water instead of, it's just
I enjoy
chaos.
Overcooked.
It's the
I'm
uncontrolled
looking
chaos.
forward to Overcooked 2, but I played that till I was sick of it. Castle Crashers, if somebody was like, "You want to go again?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it again. More Castle Crashers. Let's go."
Okay. No.
Overcooked, I played it till I was sick of it, and now I don't like it as much anymore. But I do think it's a very good game, and I see the appeal of it for everyone.
I had to move forward. I mean, I had to get in frame for my concern over the fact that you completely dissed Overcooked.
I did put Overcooked. I'm sorry. Honestly, it came up, but
I
had Overcooked on the list, and Castle Crashers beat it. Because as soon as I'm like, that's way better.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go Castle Crashers.
I'm not gonna. It's your list.
All right,
okay, so this is a clean cut because we had a bit of an unscheduled real life intervention.
Yeah, my sister came in like, "Yo, fam, what up?" So we just wanted to cut that out and get back into it.
But now we're back.
All right,
where are we at?
I'm on my number 3, and the number 3 game.
And you said I can't guess this.
You want to guess it before I call it? You want to guess?
So it's not going to be a Street Fighter game.
Okay.
It's you said
it is a fighting game. So
oh, it is.
Going for you.
Oh well, it's got to be Super Smash Brothers then.
No.
Oh, what is it
that
then?
was on my list for a while, but I realized the game I remember having.
So you telling me? Oh wait. You're telling me Super Smash Brothers did not make your list?
No, I only picked one fighting game.
That's a travesty.
Okay, I love Smash Bros, but here's the thing: the Smash Bros like game called Jump Ultimate Stars by Ganbarian came out in 2006. It only came out in Japan. Was the best game, best fighting game ever. Oh my god! You have not only was it a fighting game, it was also a deck building game kind of thing where your team.
I've never heard of this game.
He's never heard of it because it's literally they took every anime that was popular from the Shonen Jump, franchise. So they had all
anime,
the big ones.
So this explains why I've never heard of it.
It was all the big animes. You could play Dragon Ball versus Naruto versus One Piece versus Yugi. You could play as Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh! In a fighting game. Where else can you do that? Nowhere. It doesn't exist.
Super Smash Bros?
No, you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! And Jump Ultimate Stars.
Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, no, Yoshi.
Yu-Gi-Moto,
I'm thinking Yoshi.
yeah.
You're talking about okay.
Yu-Gi-Moto, and then this.
Who wants to be Yu-Gi-Oh! In a fighting game?
You don't understand.
Obviously,
this
I don't.
game not only was a fighter. Me and my friend used to love the old bad Dragon Ball fighters, and then the way you would balance the teams is they would give you each character was given like a point. Like it's like this one's worth 8 points because it's too strong.
Yeah.
So then you would get 14 points to build your team. You could pick a bunch of little guys, or just like 2 big ones, or just one really big one.
Mm-hmm.
And then this game has a similar system where there's a grid and then characters come in different shapes. And then the higher level characters will be like long rectangular blocks. They'll basically take up half your block, but they're very strong characters. Or you can have like 3 or 4, like only 4 block characters. And it's just, it's so good.
And what's it called again?
Jump Ultimate Stars. And they're still making games in the Jump fighter series, but they're not the same at all. This one was like Super Smash Bros. It was 2-dimensional. You were trying to knock each other off the stage. You could call in assists from other characters. But that's not a Smash Bros. Thing, but it's just something you do. And the new ones, it's closer to like the 3D Naruto games, which I was never a big fan of. So I don't think they're ever going to make another game like this again. So I just have to go back and talk about it.
Well, the Bros, I mean, you guys have played so many iterations of the Smash Bros. It's like a staple for every Nintendo platform, and you seem to have an addiction to Nintendo platforms.
I like Nintendo, and I love Smash Bros. Because it's a party game and it's a fighting game. Like, while I'm playing it as a party game with 8 other people these days, you can have 8 people in a fight, and you can jump around, and I can take it seriously, and they're not taking it seriously, so it doesn't matter. So I can actually get down to, like, me and the last guy, who is also pretty good, and then we're fighting. It's a party game, fighting game. It's great. But this is the exact same way, and a big selling point is that it was on the DS and it had the download play. So even if my friends didn't have the game, if they had a DS, which everyone did back then, they could download the game and then we could just play Smash Bros. With the anime characters. It was
okay.
The reason I tried this game as like on an emulator, and then I'm like, I gotta have this so I can play it with other people. It was in Japanese. I memorized every single option in Japanese on the screen. I didn't know the words. I just knew, okay, this one increases lives, this one changes the level, and I just could click through.
Where'd you get the game from?
I imported it.
Oh, wow.
From a Japanese website. It was one of those where it actually came out. There was a Nintendo Power that was talking about it because they thought originally it might have come to America, but then when they tried to, the licenses weren't possible because there's so many animes, and then the animes that actually made it to America are then like owned by different companies.
Yeah.
So they couldn't make it work. It was just
There was a licensing.
It was a
nightmare.
licensing nightmare, so they couldn't do it. Whereas it was all under Shonen Jump in Japan, so that's why they could do it. And it's the best. It's so good.
All right.
You don't like fighters, but let me tell you, if you were a weeb that likes fighters, this is the best game ever. And the saddest day of my life was when I realized that they took down the wireless servers for DS, so I can't body people online anymore.
Okay.
So that was a very sad day for me. I love the game. I wish they would get back to it. I wish they would stop making these 3D fighters.
I
and
did
maybe
not.
get back
I
to
did
the
not
jump
expect that game at all. I don't know where that.
I know. I knew you wouldn't.
Straight out of left field
All right.
there. Okay.
What's your number 3? Can I get a category or a genre as well, so I can try and guess it?
Yeah, this one's gonna be easy to guess. It's a. So I we talked about Quake. I play, and we talked about Battlefield Heroes. I play a lot of first person
So it's
shooters.
Battlefield 2.
It is Battlefield 2.
I know
Bad
it's gonna be
Company.
Bad Company.
Bad Company.
Bad Company 2.
Battlefield 2 Bad Company was the name.
Oh,
of
not Bad Company 2. Bad Company 2.
I'm sorry. It was. Let me say it. It's Battlefield Bad Company 2.
That was the one that was like a ripoff of Call of Duty.
It was a little bit. It was released in
I love that
2010.
game. Yeah.
It was by Electronic Arts, and I checked. I think I've got the right one here because it's the one that had the Ghost Town map in it. And my brother.
That's Battlefield 2.
Is that Battlefield 2?
Battlefield Bad Company
See,
is the one where you could destroy the buildings.
So I searched for Ghost Town, and it said that. I thought you're right, but I thought it said
No,
that this
you're
one.
thinking Battlefield 2.
So then
that's
it's
where you and Uncle Lane.
Then it's Battlefield 2. We played both. We played a lot of Bad
We
Company.
like Bad Company as well. It was very good.
Bad Company did have the destructible
but
buildings.
the problem was that
my
noob too.
So I need a pen on it. Yeah, so it's Battlefield 2. We played a lot of maps, but the Ghost Town map was amazing. It had vehicles, it had aircraft. It was this sort of well-constructed city where you had a lot of sniper nests on both sides. It was, I want to say, either 16 or 32 players a side. So I think Battlefield 2 might have been 32 players a side. So it was just this meat grinder of lead flying everywhere. And I remember this one guy we were playing against, and his tagline was,
I knew it.
I gotta bring him up. His name was GitFrog, right?
And
We would play on the same server all the time. And GitFrog was on there regularly on the weekends. And he was such a nuisance because he was a sniper, but he would set claymores in sometimes obvious places, but other times like, why did you put a claymore there? Ugh, and he would kill me. And it just, I never had another human being who I don't know who the guy is. If you're GitFrog, I don't dislike you, but my goodness, so many times I'm yelling at the screen, oh, this guy! I remember getting killed by him. We were trying to take the center section, and we kept assaulting it, and they were defending it. We were killing people, and they were killing people. And that sucker killed me like 3 times in a row, assaulting that center section. Each time, first time he sniped me, second time was a claymore, third time he caught me from behind while I was taking out one of his teammates. It was like, oh, this guy! But it was just that kind of game. It was so visceral. It was so, I don't know, man. It's just, and there was so much to do in that one map. You could be a sniper. You could be a pilot. You could be a tank driver. You could be a ground pounder, an anti-tank. And all of those working together is just so well executed. I mean, Battlefield 1942 and the Desert Combat stuff was all great. When that Battlefield came out, it was like, boom. It was
the one
over
you
the top.
guys liked the most.
We played a lot. We played them all a lot. And Battlefield 5 coming out in October of this year. Oh, a little too gritty for my taste, but I'm still excited
You didn't even play
about it.
Battlefield 1 though, did you?
I did not play 1942. I didn't play Battlefield 1.
Michael loved Battlefield 1. I thought you would.
World War One wasn't really a genre that was calling to me.
Yeah.
Although I think this one's Battlefield 5 is World War II. I'm kind of more into that. It'll be interesting. You're right though. So that's my number 3, Battlefield 2. And I guess I got the wrong version.
All right, and then your number 2.
Oh, you want me to get my number 2?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Okay, so.
Is it Rocket League? Yeah.
Yeah,
That's my number 2 as well. Is also Rocket League. That's the.
Okay, I don't understand what it is about this game because you explain to people this is the greatest game of all time.
The first time somebody explained it to me, I'm like, you're dumb. You're car soccer? You're dumb.
And it's even worse. If you watch someone play it and you're not playing it, it looks like a dumb game.
It makes no sense. It looks ridiculous.
And
all it really is like a physics engine, rocket cars, and a soccer ball.
And a soccer ball. And I don't like watching soccer that much. I'm not a big soccer fan, but this game is just that. it's that MOBA category. I
It's
feel
not
like I
MOBA.
have
What are you talking
skipped. Well, to me,
It's a sports game. It's a physics-based sports game, and the strategy is really intense because the cars can move around so quickly. You can have a constant rotation with your team. One guy's going for ball, the other one's setting up for the assist, and the other guy's rotating back to get boost and get ready for the next play. You're constantly doing something. You have to maintain momentum. You're constantly circling around to get the ball. And it actually came out originally under the title of Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket-Powered Battle Cars, which was a dumb name.
which was the old PlayStation.
That was
one,
the old
right?
PlayStation.
And
But
so
it had the people that knew it was good played it every day. There was and they all knew each other. There was like only two. I didn't play it, but this is how they talked about it. There was like 200 people that were really good. They all played it every day, and when Rocket League first came out, they were all the people that went pro immediately. Because once there was a following and there was actually money to be made there, they had already been practicing every day of their life.
so yeah, complete. I mean, I cannot say, and I checked yesterday, and as a testimony to how I really need to change my personal habits, I've logged nearly 700 hours of playing Rocket League.
I've probably got 300.
I've played over 4,000 games of Rocket League, and I still love playing that game. I'm not good at it. I'm like in bronze division, and I'm playing ranked against players, and their matchmaking's okay. Usually play against players that are your skill level. It's just a great game.
And this is another game I was talking about where like I told you Cuphead the boss is so hard, but when you beat it, it feels so good. Rocket League gives you that same like, yes, it feels so right when you land one of those tough shots.
It does. I mean, for me, still after all that time not being great at aerials and working on aerials, and
which what he means by aerials is in this game, you not only can you use the rockets to boost your car, but after you jump your car up, you can actually tilt it and then aim your booster to actively fly around. But it's very difficult.
It's just so satisfying to hit the ball in the middle of the air.
It works so right, and it's so responsive. I was talking about older games like Banjo-Kazooie, how it was like fidgety. This game, you could turn on a dime easily. Like everything you do, it's on you. The game didn't like cheat you because it was like too tight of a turn or something.
So I need to back up because I completely messed up.
Yeah, that's your number one?
No, it's not my number one. But I had 2 4X games, and I was like, I don't remember putting both 4X games on. I didn't. I just didn't update my list in a scrub-like move.
Oh,
so
there's another game for your number.
So there's another game for my number 3. The real number 4 would have been Civilization 4 instead of Endless Space.
And
the real number 3, which I should have put in there and I didn't, was a MOBA, and that's why I was getting confused.
Is it League of Legends?
It's League of Legends.
All right.
I mean, how can you not put League? We played so much League of Legends.
I played too much League of Legends. I would remember I had over like 5,000 games unranked, and then I had easily like maybe 500 ranked. So I played that game nonstop.
Someone else who needs to reevaluate what they're doing.
I don't play League anymore. League is still out. People still play League. A lot of my friends still play League. I can't anymore.
So yeah, but we played it so much.
I agree.
I was really bad at the normal format, although I like playing it. But it was such a nasty community.
Here's why League didn't make my list. Because League comes in when you get in on the ground level and everyone else is learning. League is the best game ever to play with your friends. You're all getting better at the same time. The people you're against are equally skilled, but League's been out for a while. If somebody tried to jump into League right now, it would be awful.
You'd have to play against bots, basically.
Yeah, and I had friends in high school who did. They started playing against bots. I'm like, oh, that's cool, and we would talk about League some. But he couldn't play with us. Like he would play with us, but he had a bad time.
Yeah, I know. It really is not it's
not forgiving
a new friendly game,
and it's really complicated.
But and I don't want to play it anymore. I'm done with it. It's over for me.
It had a big impact.
It had a big impact, and that's why I was taking, and really it was close between Civilization and Endless Space. They were right there, but I threw Endless Space off only because Civilization had the sort of just a more deep mechanics.
When it came to MOBAs, I actually almost put Awesome Nuts. You remember that? Because Awesome Nuts is the two-dimensional platformer MOBA that is way easier. Like it is a MOBA. It's as complex as a MOBA can be. But then the shop has way less items. The items are tailored to a character.
Yeah.
So you can pick one character, learn their items, and you can get it and play. And it's so cartoony, and you can play with a controller. You can have your friends over, 3 people, 3 controllers, go against people online. Awesome Nuts is way more of a get in and play than League is.
Yeah, I guess so.
League, I've played way more. I think I enjoyed League a lot more. But I can't recommend it to anyone. I don't think it's. I know this is like our favorite games, but I think if I went back, I've tried to go back and play League, and I don't even ever get to it.
So a lot of these games, I'll be honest with you, I can't play them again.
Yeah.
I tried. I can't play them again. Their games they're transitory, right? You play them, they're fun. You've experienced it. You put it aside. You're looking for some new experience, right?
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think League was a great game. I think they were great at what they did. They came into MOBAs at the right time,
and they hit it out of the park.
They crushed it.
From a technical execution perspective, when you compared it to what was Dota at the time, it was just out of the park.
And then their monetization was perfect. They're making crazy money.
They made a lot of money, and the leagues are still pushing. And honestly, I like watching League Championship play.
I don't fault anyone for liking League.
And that's another so for League of Legends as number three. I like watching their championship games. As number 2, Rocket League, I love watching the Rocket League Championship Series.
Mm-hmm.
I watch that game and I go play and I'm like, oh, I can do that too. Okay. And I'm better than I used to be. So just watching the Championship Series makes me a better game and I learn things. So that's why they're both on the list, although I'm still playing Rocket League. I got this shirt. It's an amazing game. If you haven't played it, go play Rocket League. Stop wasting your life. It's $10 on Steam right now, people.
I had to put Rocket League was actually bumped out one other one that I wanted to put on the list, but I felt like it wasn't fair to Rocket League because I still like Rocket League.
Still like it. Still playing
it. Rocket League came out in 2015. We're still playing it. 2018. It's a very fun game.
Yeah, Rocket League is
and not much. It's the same game. Like they come out with new like maps. It's all aesthetics. They haven't changed the core gameplay at all, and it's still great.
It's great. It's just great.
But the sports game that almost beat it was Mario Strikers Charged. Do you remember this game? It was on the Wii. It was the soccer game.
Oh yeah, that was a fun game. Yeah.
Me and Micah and Schaefer, we were gods at this game. Like the reason I decided to pick Rocket League. Yes, of course. The reason I decided to pick Rocket League is because in Super Mario Strikers Charge, it was a great game, tons of cool soccer, but some of it was luck. Like you had to literally just shoot the ball and it would curve. Kind of. It would choose a variant of curve, and then the goalie was a computer that would automatically block or not. And the coolest things in that game were there were certain glitches where you could glitch past the goalie. Like as Toad, you could run up to him, and if you flipped at the right moment, when he died for you, you would do a flip over him, walk into the goal, and then Toad would just run around like, "Got you, bro! Like you're trash." And it was a ton of fun, and we like had names for all the different shots, which we brought over to Rocket League. Me and Micah have a bunch of different. We like some of the shots that we make in Rocket League. We named after the ones in.
Is that the Belgian waffle?
The Belgian waffle came from Super Mario Strikers Charge. It's so good. If you have a Wii and some free time, which also they brought down the Wii wireless server, so I'm sad I can't body people online in that either. But that's a great game. All right, we need to get to our number ones. We've been talking
all right. So who's gonna go first?
We did Rocket League at the same time, so you want me to just do mine?
Well, I'm trying to guess if it's not gonna be a fighting game. I don't know.
I'll be surprised if you don't get this.
I mean, you play like several games a lot. I'm trying to think of which one it would be. It's like I was thinking of Smite or Dota 2 or all that stuff. But
I would have picked League before either of those.
All right, so what is number 1?
It's Warcraft 3.
Get out of Oh yeah, okay. That's
Warcraft 3: The Frozen Throne.
But you're picking that as a 1,000-game genre.
There's
because
been
it was about the platform.
There's been no modding community like Warcraft 3.
No, it's like, and we played a lot of the mods.
Like I've played a lot of Gary's mod too. I love modding communities. Warcraft 3's was the best.
Oh, hands down.
And they
also,
came out. They
the creator of a map here.
Well, that's because actually, like 2 years ago, I was like, I love Warcraft 3. I still get on and play with my friends, but I'm like, I want to see if I can make a map. I could never do it as a kid because when I started, I was way younger. Like we were on like landlines.
Yeah.
We were landlines calling each other, just playing. When new games came out, we would try them all. We had a bunch of fun.
Well, there's an honorable mention. Discord.
Discord
gets an
honorable mention. Discord. I used the Discord. I joined. There was a MOBA called Battle Tanks on there that me and my friend still love. We got in the Discord and now we can play games with people. In 2018, we can find 10 people to play Battle Tanks with us. It's great. Yeah. But that's what they invented the MOBA. Dota came from Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
And I hated Dota at the time. because it was the same as like if
League of Legends came from Dota, right?
League came from Dota, but it was because I got into Dota late. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I can't figure it out. Everyone's very mean to people.
I watched people play it and it looked fun, but it was not. Well, all these
and they would
MOBAs like
kick
that
you if
had
you
lousy barriers.
whenever
to
you
entry.
got into a game, it would automatically download the map if you didn't have it from the host. And if you started downloading Dota, they would kick you because they knew you were new to the game. They wouldn't even let you play. And I'm like, okay. Then they could because there were so many people playing Dota. They could just kick you and get someone else. I'm like, that okay, I guess.
Yeah.
My favorite games like that were the tag games though, like Sheep Tag, Island Defense. It actually spawned. The reason I love Dead by Daylight so much is because it reminds me of these tag games back from Warcraft 3, which is the same. The map I made is a tag game.
What was the ships that they were?
Battleships.
Battleships.
That's what Battle Tanks is. The land version of Battleships.
Yeah.
That Micah loves so much.
I enjoyed that game quite a bit. Yeah.
And it's
so
good.
it is. I mean, what people have taken that platform and done, I can't disagree.
And they can't. I was hoping StarCraft 2 would be the next one.
It really wasn't.
It wasn't at all.
I think that modding community just moved on.
The modding community,
right?
they went on to better things. The Dota 2 people are making fat money. And they did make a couple mods for StarCraft 2, but honestly, it's not the aesthetic of StarCraft 2 is completely different from Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
Warcraft 3 has greens. StarCraft doesn't believe in green. They believe in brown, blue, like metallic colors. They don't have any green in their color palette.
I think the big thing for them was they had a better AI editor, but like you said, because of the art,
it was very easy to make maps in Warcraft 3.
Yeah, I think it was a good thing, but And
they created save codes that you could type in the code and it would give your character the stats of they created full RPGs on Warcraft 3. I didn't play very many of them because you could just play an RPG. But Warcraft 3 from Blizzard Entertainment, 2002. The greatest game of all time.
Well, it was on my list at least.
It's the best.
But mine was more there, 2002 Blizzard. Mine was on the list because of the time.
And then your number one is World of Warcraft?
Of course it is. I mean, World of Warcraft, originally released by Blizzard Entertainment in 2004.
And here's the thing. I know a lot of people are like, Blizzard fanboys, World of Warcraft. He's not.
No.
I went back and played it on one of the newer expansions. He's like, it's not the same.
Gone.
I'm over it.
It's over for me.
He will not give Blizzard any more money.
You gotta understand, I won't. Not for that anyway. I wasn't there for Ultima Online. I wasn't there for EverQuest. So I wasn't even there
for Guild Wars.
I wasn't even there at the start of World of Warcraft. And the first time I played it, it was genuinely the first, it was
full MMORPG.
Yeah, it was the RPG aspects of it actually aren't that interesting to me because although that's kind of the objective, it was the dynamic world with other people in it and the interactivity of that.
Guilds in original World of Warcraft were closer than any guild community I've ever seen since.
I mean, so once you leveled up and once you joined a guild and when we banded together and we started raiding in-game content, that game created an experience that was unique for me. It was the first time I was in a 40-man raid or a 20-man raid or even a 5-man raid.
You know how people, when you're at work, you have people that you make friends with in World of Warcraft. You would see these same people like 1 or 2 times a week for raiding. So you became very close with these people. They were actually your friends.
Yeah, it was just I'd like to. To me, I think to specific experiences. So we had a very small guild, maybe like 15 people, and we ended up banding up. We weren't raiding with anybody, so we assembled a bunch of other really small guilds, and we went to, I think it was Zul'Gurub, which was this troll dungeon in a 40-something area that was on a Care Bear server that was like a 20-man raid instance, and it was dropping epics, but these weren't top-tier epics, they were second-tier epics, but to take this sort of motley crew of people who had never raided before and get them all on TeamSpeak at the time, I think, and then get them all I
think it was Ventrilo TeamSpeak.
Was it Ventrilo? Yeah, and then coordinating their activities, and you'd run the raid, and they'd just wipe, and instead of going out and Googling how to do it, we just figured it out, and we started dropping a couple of bosses with this menagerie of people, and it was just so great, and the people interaction, it's just the fact that it was a living, dynamic MMO world, that was pretty cool. Because to me, if you look at a lot of these games, I don't think there's hardly any game on this list that's a solo experience, right? Except for maybe Wolfenstein.
Well, World of Warcraft could have been if that's what you wanted to do.
It could, but it just for me it's people. People are I'm a social person. I want to be around people. I want to interact with people. playing games against the AI is okay, but playing games against people is just the way because people aren't predictable. They're gonna do crazy
And
things.
Vanilla WoW, I would never go back to it because
No,
I'm
no,
spoiled
no.
by newer games like Ease.
So I
But
try.
it used to be Molten Core was like the end game raid, and if you didn't do the full quest line before, the only way to get into the raid was just jumping into a pool of lava. If you did the quest line, you go through, you're in the instant, and then you would see one guy's like, "Let's go, guy!" Hits the lava, dies. It's like you're not ready for Molten Core. What do you mean? Why'd I die? Like that's the like sense of humor that they had going into the game. That Blizzard really did a great job with the whole world.
And it was one of those that got better because when they released it, they didn't really. I think Maraudon was their best in-game content. And they kept adding raid dungeons. I mean, they defined to me, although they existed before in EverQuest, but that was my first experience with high-end raiding and building guilds. And honestly, I don't do it anymore.
And
partially because I'm like, going on 10 years clean and sober because that game was somewhat consuming.
It's
of your
all
life,
games
right?
these days try to follow their same model. But the reason I don't love WoW and the reason I don't play it, I would still probably get on and play it if it weren't for I hate subscription models, just like as a general service. I just don't want to pay.
But I mean, I want to say that was the first video game that topped over $1 billion in annual.
I remember seeing a news
staggering.
report that said like movie sales are taking a hit because everyone is staying home to play World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Okay, that was the South Park.
No, that wasn't. I saw it at your parents' house on TV.
Oh, did you really?
There was a lady with a microphone, live person, telling me that movie sales were down for playing World of Warcraft.
Okay.
The South Park World of Warcraft episode, also the best episode. So, but that's because, of course, we got all the jokes from playing World of Warcraft.
So that was it.
So everyone here definitely disagrees with us.
Of course they do.
You didn't hear of half of his old man games because everyone on YouTube is 8. And then you didn't hear half of my games because I play a bunch of local co-ops and everyone's in online playing Fortnite these days.
I'm bringing culture to the masses here.
He's bringing culture.
I'm educating an uneducated
everyone
gamer
at least
community.
my age has heard of Wolfenstein 3D, so they know what you're talking about. But
these are relevant games. They're mostly new versions of these. So honorable mentions. I got to throw a few out there real quick.
I already threw mine out as we went. Yeah,
so Populous, 1989, Bullfrog Productions. Although they called it the original God game, it was the first to me, almost like a real RTS, where you played a god that could shape terrain and other things to help your little peoples thrive and your other gods' little peoples fail. That was to me like a precursor. I nodded to Sublogic Jet, which was the first computer game I ever played. And it was on the list and it couldn't stay. Yar's Revenge, 1982, Atari. I was an Atari 2600 guy. And Yar's Revenge was this goofy game that, again, I would never go back and play. It's silly now, but back then it consumed hours and hours of time trying to beat the game.
I should have put Diddy Kong Racing on this list. I'm thinking about old games
See,
now. Diddy Kong Racing was so good.
So what I thought you were going to have on your list is I thought you'd have Rocket League, which you did. Number 2. I thought you'd have League of Legends, which...
I didn't know about
I thought you'd have Super Smash Bros. And Street Fighter, both of which weren't on the list.
You know I don't even like Street Fighter, right?
I thought you liked those games.
I'm no good at it. I love Marvel vs. Capcom. That's my honorable mentions. I have honorable mentions for fighting games. First one, Super Smash Bros.
Mm-hmm.
Second one, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Ultimate.
Okay.
And then the new version of that, because they messed up the new Marvel vs. Capcom, which is Dragon Ball Fighters, which is the anime version of Marvel vs. Capcom, and is way better, way easier.
So, what did you think I'd have on my list besides Rocket League?
Battlefield 2,
yeah,
Rocket League, World of Warcraft. I think those were the 3.
They were all on my list. Yeah. It's really good. You didn't have League of Legends then.
I didn't expect you to like. I remember they had like a separate game mode that was way fat. That's why I can't play League these days. It's so long.
It is.
That's why when I play a MOBA, sometimes I'll play Heroes of the Storm just because it's shorter. I don't even like the game.
Yeah, well, I was playing Dominion, and Dominion was a lot faster.
It was a shorter version.
And
it was a very different game.
And that was really when they got rid of Dominion.
When they cut it is when he quit. I feel bad for you because you can't even go back and play it if you felt like it.
I could. It would just be really painful.
You can't play Dominion though. That's what I'm saying.
No, I'd have to play League, and it would just be there's such trolls.
I guess they didn't want to support multiple game modes because they felt like it wasn't worth their time, which hurts as someone someone who plays that game because it feels like you're
It
not.
was.
worth
It wasn't
their
so
time.
much the mode. They were having trouble balancing the character abilities.
But they started balancing them separately, and then
yeah.
they cut them
They
because they
should've-
said it was too much work. They
Yeah,
started doing it.
they should have just not balanced them for Dominion. But then I think the Dominion, and they said it was like 5 or 10% of the. I think it was 5% of their population was playing Dominion. I get it.
That's 5% of millions of people.
I quit.
I get it as a business decision, but it would hurt.
Well, I
if
wasn't
was-
paying
if
them
I
to
was
play,
doing
so
it.
it's
Yeah, that's true.
entirely up to them to cut it if they want.
That's true.
Anyway, that's our
That's
list.
our list.
Sam's right.
You
guys,
disagree.
You guys are going to
You all
disagree.
definitely disagree.
Yes, I don't know how Super
Tell
Mario
me-
Brothers did not make it on either one of our lists.
Now, the things I would want to hear in the comics are definitely like, what is your favorite game of all time? And number 2, do you agree that Dragon Quest Rocket Slime was very underrated?
I suspect that clearly nobody will provide that.
There's going to be
feedback.
one guy, and me and you, Jared. I got you, Jared. Me and you, Jared. It's a good game, right?
That's not an
You get it.
unfortunate reference.
You get
is
it,
it?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
All right, we're going to wrap it there.
All right, guys. My name's JJ,
And I'm Sam.
and we have had a lot of fun doing this. And you guys should try it. You should make your own list and make your own video and have a good time. Peace out.
Deuces.